Good morning. I see everyone's excited. It's so great to see the excitement about the interim retail village. But thank you and welcome to St. Elizabeth East. My name is Latrina Owens and I'm the Executive Director of the St. Elizabeth East Redevelopment within the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development. Today we are thrilled to celebrate another groundbreaking for our Congress Heights residents under the leadership of Mayor Bowser and Deputy Mayor John Falchecchio. So when we do these groundbreakers, I always like to run it back because they always say, well, what's been done? So let me just let you know what's been done. In 2018, we opened the Entertainment and Sports Arena, now the home of the 2019 WA champion Washington Mystics. In 2019, we celebrated the opening of the first affordable housing project, the Residences at St. Elizabeth East, which delivered 202 units of affordable housing, adding to the mayor's goal to create 36,000 units by 2025. In July 2021, we broke ground on the new Whitman Walker Health Facility and announced a new 20,000 square foot District of Columbia public library to replace Parkland Turner's neighborhood library. But we didn't stop there, we kept going. In January of this year, we officially opened the 801 East Men's Shelter, and a month later, we opened the 750 space parking garage located behind the Entertainment and Sports Arena, and we broke ground on the construction of the Cedar Hill Regional Medical Center, starting a new chapter of health for our residents east of the river. In April of this year, we officially welcomed our first homeowners at the district towns at St. Elizabeth East, 88 for-sale townhome units with 27 of them being affordable. And today, we kick off construction and learn the name of the new interim retail village here on parcel 15 at St. Elizabeth. That deserves a round of applause. Each groundbreaking and ribbon cutting is one step closer to transforming this campus into a world-class destination full of mixed income, for sale and rental housing, new office and retail, and other neighborhood serving amenities. I cannot wait until we have you back in December, just in time for Christmas, so that you can go shopping at the interim retail village. But before I leave the podium, I would just like to say a couple of thank yous. First, I'd like to thank our Director of Real Estate at DMPED, Sarosh Apedzwala. Our attorneys who worked on this project, who I so eloquently call them the firm, Mark Alberta and Adarsh Hathi. Our engineer, Richard Stottinger, and our other district agencies, especially DCRA, DDOT, DC Health, and DOEE. They played an integral role in this project. But most importantly, I would like to thank you, the Congress Heights community, for your support on the overall St. Elizabeth East project. So thank you so much for all the projects that you've supported. Now please join me in welcoming LeGreg Harrison, co-founder of the Museum DC, and he'll be the experience curator for the interim retail village. LeGreg.
Thank you, Latrina. That was a great introduction. How's everybody doing out there today? I'm super excited. The weather is great, and it's just a great time to be alive in Washington, D.C. So good morning and welcome. Before I get started, let me offer a few thank yous. Let me first start by thanking God for this awesome day, this awesome opportunity to make history. I want to thank you all for coming out here bearing witness to such a historic event. I would like to thank designer and architect David Ajay, Latrina Owens, Mayor Bowser, Councilman Trayon White, Red Brick Development, Emerson Collective, and thank you to CHC TDC, Monica Ray for her leadership and Monica Jones also for managing out this process. Give them a round of applause, please. I want to make sure that I extend a special thanks to the community and all its constituents for allowing me the opportunity to speak at this groundbreaking ceremony, in which we're building a place that recognizes the community for their perseverance, resilience, persistence, and what can really happen when barriers are lowered and opportunities are extended to all people. I'm LeGreg Harrison. I'm a fourth-generation Washingtonian, the founder of Future Moguls Incorporated. I'm a long-term resident of Ward 8, once a celebrated athlete, the CEO of the Museum DC, and recently recognized as Washington Business Journal's Top 40 Under 40 award recipients. And now, like Latrina said, I'm the experience manager here for the Ensign Retail Village. I'm one who believes in sticking to the script, so I'm gonna get right to the point. I prepared a statement so that I don't forget anything. Sometimes I try to go off the head and it ruins the moment. A few years ago, I met Dan Tangolini. He recognized my vision for entrepreneurship and my commitment towards the community's excellence. In our initial conversation, Dan gave me a book, and I wanted to thank him for that. Thank you, Dan. In this book, there was an excerpt that struck a chord. It stopped me in my tracks. If you don't mind, I'd like to indulge you for a moment as I read this very small but important excerpt. I believe this summarizes why we are all here today and further explains what this moment in time means to myself and to other small business owners that have been chosen through a rigorous selection process. It was all earned and most certainly not given. While all of the applicants were strong and certainly worthy of approval, the committee could only select 8, and these 8 will represent the inauguration of the Incubate the 8 in business. This excerpt says, all people, including people who are often overlooked, have a stake in wealth creation. Some measure of liquid financial assets is the prerequisite for participating in the economy. Opening the mainstream economy to those who are systematically excluded from participating in its perhaps the most transformative and effective way of growing the economy from the bottom up. Robert Friedman also said, real wealth is the confidence, competence, connections, and capital to make choices, to meet responsibilities to others, pursue dreams and make mistakes, knowing it's possible to recover, learn, and try it again. The enduring source of real wealth is the people. It's funny because my dad also taught me something super profound, and I keep it with me till today. He told me that there is no absolute way to expect a respected future without an adequate succession plan in a challenging present and past. We all know that. This community yearns for artists and business outlets. I believe that the smallest of us represents the greatest of us. This retail village gives opportunities to creatives, artists, and entrepreneurs to grow. We have created a place that will speak to the needs of the community in a non-competing atmosphere, yet with a succeeding interest. So what is Incubate the 8? Incubate the 8 is a part of a brain trust that we open up the doors for those entrepreneurs that wanted to extend their crafts and business acumen into a community of brick and mortar retail establishments, allowing them to have experience associated with ownership, marketing, and above all, a visual cortex to their dreams. Let's continue to create opportunities and open doors, and thank you again for your attendance. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you the inaugural 8 businesses in the incubator. Chris Pirate from Chris Pirate and Friends. Would you join me? Kiana Lindsay and Finest Jones, Southside Creative. Sorry, Kiana Jones. Jovan Davis, Love More brand. Daryl Simpson, Pierre Blatchard, Paradise Clothing. Salon on the Ave, Yarnay Glasgow. Black Bella, Josetta Harris. And last but not least, Ayana Ford, our Amwa. Just want to say thank you to everybody that's on the stage right now. You know, we have all been through, like I said before, a rigorous interview process. You know, we were chosen not only by that committee, but by the people. These businesses have worked really hard, and we're going to bring some exciting things and some really good retail businesses to Ward 8. Thank you. So, without further ado, I want to bring somebody to the podium. She's a fifth-generation Washingtonian. She's our 8th mayor for a 3rd time. And she is the mayor of the best city in America. Give a round of applause to our mayor, Muriel Bowser.
Let's give it up for LaGreg. Listen, everybody, I'm super excited to be here today. I'm very excited to join all of you in the next step here at St. Elizabeth's. And I was so happy to see the new businesses that are coming to this retail village. Give them a big round of applause. I know for all entrepreneurs, they have an idea, a passion, a yearning to do something big, to create something, to employ people. And we know that every step of the way, all those steps aren't easy, but we're really happy as the city to be a part of this step that you're making. We are here at the beautiful St. Elizabeth's campus. You heard Latrina Owens, who is right in front of me, tell you what we've been up to. Give Latrina and the DMPED team a big round of applause. You've heard me tell this story before, but when I was elected mayor back in 2015, this parcel was ours to be developed, but it was kind of stuck. We hadn't attracted a major anchor retailer or tenant or employer to get the project started. And like so many places in Washington, D.C., we knew that the government had to be first and would be first. And we had the exciting idea to create the new home of the Washington Mystics right here in Ward 8. And that's what we did. They happened to be world champions. And it happened to replicate the big investment that we've made in other parts of the city for the city to go first, to create big infrastructure, to create an entertainment destination that would not only anchor the project, but would attract everyone else. And so I'm proud of that. I'm also proud of Ward 8 residents, that when some said we shouldn't invest tens of millions of dollars at St. Elizabeth's in Ward 8, you remember that. It was a big fight. But Ward 8 stood up. And that's why we can continue to invest in this campus. Just a few months ago, we were together, weren't we, council member, to break ground on a long-promised investment in Ward 8 Health, the Cedar Hill Regional Medical Center. We delivered the new 801 East Men's Shelter that will transform people's lives on their way to permanent housing. And just a few weeks ago, we welcomed new homeowners, new Ward 8 residents right on this campus who are buying their new townhomes. And that is what we will continue to do with the Whitman Walker Clinic, with a new library, and now with interim retail options. Again, being the first in to help seed what comes next. So our friends at Red Brick and Emerson Collectives and Ajay Associates know that they will work with the Ward 8 community for our vision to come alive. So give all the partners, friends, designers, architects, builders, construction workers a big round of applause. You heard Latrina describe what will be delivered here by December. This is the thing we know about coming out of the last 2 years, is that the district is going to be a partner with the private sector in delivering experiences. The way that we will continue to attract visitors from all over the city, the region, and indeed the world to places in D.C. is to create new experiences. And that's what this retail center here at Sycamore and Oak will mean for Ward 8. We need more places for people to visit, to dine, to buy the goods that they want for their families, and we know that we can do it here. We've seen it at other places, and we know that we will see it in the great Ward 8. So I'm looking forward to working with everybody over the next months as our vision is realized. And when we do projects like this, not only are we transforming places, we're transforming people. One of the best stories that I hear is when I come to the entertainment and sports complex, that people tell me how friendly everybody is who works there, how much they know the communities, how much they can share what's happening on this campus alone. And I know that those are good paying jobs for DC residents that will lead to other good paying jobs. So this transformation is underway, but it hasn't happened by accident, and it hasn't happened with a lot of hard work. And it certainly hasn't happened without the partnership of members of the Council of the District of Columbia. So I just want to acknowledge the two council members who have joined us, and then they will join me on the stage for remarks. The first is your council member, Councilmember Trayon White. Give him a big round of applause. Trayon and I share a love for a story, a verse from the Bible that says, "Without vision, the people shall perish." And that is why we stick together on a lot of projects involving Ward 8 that include a big vision and a lot of getting things done. And it's also true that we need leadership on the council that says when we come up with a big idea that costs a lot of money for Ward 8, we need council members that remind everybody else is Ward 8 has waited long enough, and we're coming for what Ward 8 needs. And Councilmember Kenyon McDuffie has been a wonderful leader for economic development for the whole city, and especially here in Ward 8 for all of the big projects that we have. So with that, let me introduce the Ward 8 Council Member, Trayon White.
Good morning. I said good morning. It's a great day to be alive in the great Ward 8. First, I want to thank you, Mayor Muriel Bowser, for your leadership. I believe that everything rises and falls on leadership. And I do want to know you've been committed to this. I don't know if you remember, but we took a trip with Saros and John to Harvard University. We were discussing the possibilities of what can be possible right here in the great Ward 8. And now we're seeing this vision come to fruition. So I'm excited to be here today to witness this. I also want to honor some of those individuals who started this journey some 20, 30 years ago, hoping that we get what we need here in the Great Ward 8, like the Mayor for Life, Marion Berry, Murray Cutbirth, Mr. Bunn, and there are so many others who have laid in their lives and working hard on behalf of the residents here in Ward 8 that did not see this vision. And so there are a lot of residents who reap what they have sown. So I want to thank you all for your dedication. I want to thank Deputy Mayor John Fairchecchio, Dan Tangolini, Dana Hall from the Emerson Collective, Mr. Ajay, who's the architect. I want to give them a round of applause. I'll say their name, please. Thank you. Latrina Owens. Our leader, our leader here in Congress Heights, Ms. Monica Ray. Give her a round of applause. Red Brick, who has been to my office so many times just trying to figure this thing out. Just trying to make this, give Red Brick a round of applause. And so many leaders who have put sweat equity behind the scenes, and no one else is looking to make Ward 8 a great place to live for all residents. I want to, as I think about this project, I look at the vendors who are there, over there from Dion's MLK Deli. Let me just say the list so I won't forget anybody. The Museum DC, as you heard from LeGreg Harrison, and I'm gonna pause for a moment, and I'm gonna get off script. What you may not know is that Greg and I grew up in this community as kids, just trying to figure out how we gonna, make it out of Southeast to become something great, and we struggled. And Greg always had a creative mind. I remember we was in elementary school, and Greg used to create these shoe designs on a piece of paper, and he used to sell them in class for $1. He always had an innovative mind. We would buy him, didn't know what he was really doing, but as kids, we got to always invest and develop those dreams and visions, because you don't know they're going to become the next LeGreg Harrison right here in Washington, D.C., being a leader. So we're proud of you, Greg. We're proud of your vision, what we've seen you do, not just in fashion, but also in the music industry, to come back, not just to be in Ward 8, but create a bridge for other young individuals in Ward 8 through your new nonprofit, man. I appreciate you. I love you, man. I appreciate the work you're doing right here in our hometown, right here in our community. Thank you. This new phase, I'm sorry, Paradise Clothing, Chris Pirate, MLK Deli, Yana Glasgow, Ayana Ford, Josetta Harris, and our own Kiana. Where's Kiana? There she go. Southside, always in the building, always outside of the building, in the community doing great work. And all the retailers who will be in this space, not just for the interim, for the long haul. We know that there are a lot of reasons that minority businesses don't make it. One, because of access to capital, lack of access to capital, and just barriers to entry. And I think this government has done a great job of removing those barriers and giving access to small black businesses so they can become big black businesses right here in the Great Ward 8. Also, Vaughn from Lovemore, who's also one of the vendors here today, also a graduate of the Frank W. Ballou Senior High School. That's right, Vaughn. But today is a great day for me as the leader in this community, because we know the barriers to getting what we need to do, to reach our potential. And so I'm excited to be a part of a government who's removing those barriers and giving access to opportunities that we can maximize potential, not across the river, not out in Prince George's County, no shade to across the river, Prince George's County, but right here in the Great Ward 8. And so today is a great day. And I want to pause for a moment by giving a special happy birthday to Miss Christy Whitfield from DSLBD. Give her a happy birthday, guys. My daughter's birthday was yesterday, so I'm going to give y'all a team cancer for today. But in conclusion, I want to introduce a colleague of mine who serves in Ward 5, also chairs the Committee on Business and Economic Development, Councilman Ken McDuffie, who has been a strong fighter for economic inclusion here in Ward 8 and also across the city. Give him a round of applause as they approach the podium. Thank you.
Good morning, Ward 8. So, I am delighted to be here this morning. I'm Kenya McDuffie, As Councilmember Trayon White just mentioned, I chair the Committee on Business and Economic Development at the Council of the District of Columbia. And it's a great morning to be with you all here for this Parcel 15 event on the campus of St. Elizabeth's in the great Ward 8. I know you all have heard a number of thank yous already, but bear with me. I think the people who've been mentioned already should be repeated every time somebody comes up here to speak, because these are the folks who made this happen. And so I want to recognize, first and foremost, our Mayor, Muriel Bowser, for her commitment to the enhancement of Ward 8 and all 8 wards across the District of Columbia. Her leadership, courage, and concern for communities is really appreciated, specifically when we're seeing these sorts of investments right here in Ward 8. So you already applauded, but you need to give her another round of applause for all of her work, please. So we're here today in an area that is going to bring 288 additional housing units to Congress Heights. More than 50% of the units will be set aside for affordable units. And that's something that we should all be proud of. The project is going to include 200 square feet of office building, a 125-room hotel, and up to 50 square feet of ground floor retail, bringing some high-quality jobs and economic development to this community. I want to thank all of the partners who worked on this project, and the list is long, but it also includes the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development, John Falchicchio, and his entire team, including Latrina Owens. Let's give her another round of applause. Finest Jones, Monica Ray with the Congress Heights Community Training and Development Corporation. David Ajay and Ajay Associates, let's give them a round of applause. Red Brick and Emerson Collective, let's also recognize them for being partners in this very special project. And I want to recognize Dan Tangolini, former city administrator, and his team at the Emerson Collective. I really appreciate the vision that's been set out by Lauren Powell Jobs to create pathways to genuine opportunity so people from all communities can thrive. So I wanted to recognize them in particular for their work here. The reality is that I think we all know that major development can sometimes come at a large cost to the community. Community engagement and inclusion is essential. It's for that reason that I cannot express how happy and proud I am to share this moment with LeGreg Harrison, a young man whose roots grew from this very neighborhood, as was mentioned by Councilmember Trayon White. LeGreg is the experience manager for this Parcel 15 project, and we're fortunate to have someone like him and Councilmember Trayon White who's still rooted in this community and capable of playing a part in taking this community to some of the greatest heights that we're going to see. Much of my work has been dedicated to ensuring that the city can make investments that will support and incentivize the cultivation of the next generation of young makers and creatives who will mirror the hard work and success of LeGreg and his partner, Muhammad Hill. Let's give them another round of applause. I'm proud that we're here today for this groundbreaking, but also proud of the legislative work that I've been able to accomplish along with Trayon White and my colleagues at the council in getting budget victories, such as the funding for the Child Wealth Building Act or baby bonds, the work that we've done with the Commercial Property Acquisition Fund and the Black Homeownership Fund. These are just a few of the investments that we've been able to ensure working with Mayor Bowser and her team to make sure that there are opportunities for equity, partnership, and investments that concur for those who have been anchored in these communities for a really long time. So again, I want to recognize something that Councilmember Trayon White said. He said that he and LeGreg had talked about ways to make it out of Ward 8. And I think today is yet another example of when you make the investments directly in these communities, you don't have to have people who want to make it out of these neighborhoods. You actually make the investment in these people, and these communities will invest back in them. And so I want to recognize Mayor Bowser, Trayon White, LeGreg Harrison, and all the folks who have been doing this for Ward 8 for a really long time for making the day possible. Thank you all for letting me be a part of it. And I want to take this opportunity to welcome Emerson Collective's Managing Director, Dan Tagolini.
So there's an old saying in public speaking that everything may have already been said, but it hasn't been yet said by me. So But so that's to paraphrase Councilmember McDuffie. There are a bunch of people I'm going to thank all over again. But I really want to start right now with the people who actually made today possible, and I mean today. And that's the folks at Reed Rodell and Charlotte Reed and her whole team pulled this all together. And then later tonight, we're gonna pre-thank Ron Moten and Don't Mute DC for Mumbo versus Gumbo. Go home, change, get in your festival gear, and we're gonna expect to see you later tonight. But good morning and thank you for joining us at Sycamore and Oak, the Interim Retail Village groundbreaking ceremony. I have to point out today that we're making some kind of history. We have all these incredible guests, but this may be the first time in the history of Congress Heights, or at least St. Elizabeth's, that we have both a mayor and a knight. Mayor Bowser, Sir David Adjaye, thank you for marking this day with us. I love groundbreakings. They're one of my two top favorite kinds of ceremonies, the other, of course, being ribbon cuttings. Am I right, Mayor? Right, exactly. It was at a ribbon cutting ceremony. That was my last ceremony I got to be part of here on the St. E's campus. That event was celebrating the opening of the U.S. Coast Guard headquarters on the West Campus, and it was also the last event I had the pleasure of participating in with former D.C. Mayor and Ward 8 icon, Mayor Councilmember Marion Barry. We're also honored to be joined today by the former First Lady, Cora Masters Barry, which I guess means we have another kind of royalty among us. But we also have Miss Senior DC, so we also have a tiara in our presence. So it's a full house, as they say. So today we're marking a small bit of additional history on land that has long and complicated history of its own. We must acknowledge the Nacotchtank or Anacostan Indians as the first settlers of this land. We draw on their inspiration for our project's commitment to community, sustainability, and commerce. We also must acknowledge the ancestors of so many residents of this neighborhood, the enslaved people stolen from Africa whose forced labor was used to build so much of official Washington, including most likely some of the buildings on this very campus. We seek inspiration in their quest for justice and opportunity, as well as culture, identity, and expression. Finally, we need to acknowledge those who sought or were committed to care here when it was a hospital. We turn to their history for a grounding in health and wellness in conjunction with the new Cedar Hill and St. Elizabeth's hospitals, as well as our soon-to-be neighbors, the Whitman Walker Health System. We recognize and appreciate the hard work, dedication, and commitment of the Congress Heights community, its residents, representatives, and leaders that have informed the process that have led to the interim retail village and the buildings that will follow it. Those who come before us and those we are honored to work among provide us with essential ingredients to make meaningful and lasting positive contribution. Our aim with this project, the very reason we at the Emerson Collective are honored to be involved, is to strive for the highest standards in community participation, sustainability, opportunity creation, lasting beauty, and equity. The village has taken a village to get this far. We'd like to thank our good friends and partners at the Congress Heights Community Training and Development Corporation, Monica Ray, Monica Jones, and their brilliant team for helping guide this project. We also want to thank the members of the community who informed us in the process of naming our work, Sycamore and Oak: Brenda Richardson, Salima Dolfo, Philip Pennell, Jaron Hill Lockridge, Absalom Jordan, Finest Jones, Wendell Kwan, Kiana Jones, whose art you'll see around the event today, Tadani Pulabusi, Brenda Jones, Ginger Rumpf, LeGreg Harrison. Additional thanks go to the members of the community who responded to our surveys about what should be on this site, participated in focus groups, gave us feedback and advice. I also want to thank those who committed hours to the work of the panel that helped us review the nearly 24 applications to join the Incubate the 8 cohort, particularly DCLSB Director Whitfield, happy birthday, Christina Sicard, Timothy White, Subangala Cook, and BP Walker. We need to thank our tremendous development partners at Red Brick LMD, Louis Dubin, Tom Skinner, William Passmore, and their brilliant construction team of Paul Elias, May Lee, David Osse, as well as Lindsay Morton. We also want to thank development partners Greg Cardona and their principals Vance Gregg and Juan Cardona. Our general contractor is the one and only Banneker Communities. Their CEO and great friend, Omar Kareem is here today, as well as members of the project team, Bradford Mills, Muhammad Abdulali, and Site Superintendent Elijah Jackson. From the Emerson Collective, I want to recognize and thank some amazing colleagues, Jennifer Arsenault, Dana Hall-Murphy, Jasmine Malone, and Charles Hall and Christine Soto, and so many others that represent the power of the collective, but most of all, our founder, Lorraine Powell Jobs. Ralph Waldo Emerson, the transcendentalist author and poet, is credited with saying, "Your work finds you." And this work, the work of collaborative community empowerment and opportunity creation, found us here at the corner of Sycamore and Oak. Nothing is built without commitment, perseverance, and leadership. And those qualities are what drive this community's ground-level representative body, the Area Neighborhood Commission. I want to thank ANC 8C, particularly Chairman Salim Adolfo, and members Mustafa Abdul Salam, Victoria Kinsey, Rhonda Edward Himes, Trayvon Hawkins, and former member Tasha Powell. I mentioned one legendary Ward 8 council member earlier. Let me thank another, Trayon White. He's not taken his eye off the ball of ensuring equity, inclusion, and opportunity in all the progress and investment that's happening here in Ward 8. I also want to thank Chairman McDuffie for his own leadership of the Council's Economic Development Committee and his support for this project. Finally, I'll end where I began, with a mayor and a night. Thank you, Mayor Bowser, for your timeless commitment to our city, the District of Columbia, and your leadership, as well as your incredible team. Deputy Mayor Falchicchio, members of the DemPed team, such as Sarosh Opawada, and most important to us here at St. E's, the one and only Latrina Owens, whose long-term vision and day-to-day drive has turned long-standing plans into executed reality. Finally, allow me to introduce a world-renowned talent, an artist, and a leader in his field, Sir David Adjaye. David is no stranger to Ward 8. His William O. Lockridge and Francis Gregory Libraries introduced us to his design, vision, and talent. His later work designing the Smithsonian Museum of African American History and Culture has become an essential part of the monumental core. And his work here at Sycamore and Oak will also be a timeless addition. While we wait to finish the hard and necessary work of the permanent project to be built, we have a window into his ideas about the use of sustainable materials, gathering space, transparency, and connectivity in the interim retail village that we begin today. Ladies and gentlemen, Sir David Adjaye.
Hello, everyone. How'd you go after that? Again, I have to thank the mayor and the incredible vision for allowing this to happen, the Emerson Collective, my partners, Red Brick, and my team who I work with. But just to say that we are thrilled and honored to be working in Ward 8. When we were asked to look at this project, I jumped at it because to be able to serve this community is just really a deep honor. We're architects, so I'm talking about buildings. We love the history of this community, and we wanted to make a project when we were brought in, after all the incredible community outreach and discussions, to really embed into the first project all the things that we were hearing from the community. So we hope that this is a project that really speaks to the community as something that we are co-designing together, that we're trying to talk about the ideas of sustainability, we're talking about community empowerment, we're talking about wellness and health, we're talking about making, in a sense, what this project, which is really an incredible opportunity being made by this development team, a community center for this incredible ward to use as an incubator and as a lens to rise up. So this architecture, we hope, is something which is about the vision of the future, about the resources, how we are stewards of our planet, how we use modularity, how we create great quality in all neighborhoods, not just in the sort of, not where we think it should be in the center of the city, but in all neighborhoods, the highest quality, the highest architecture, and to bring up all that live in these communities with great design. That's something we believe in at Adjaye Associates. And with that, I just want to bring the mayor up and Latrina up, and we're gonna answer some questions. That is it. Huh? Oh, sorry. Before that, we're going to show the video. I'm so sorry.
Okay, I'll take a few press questions, and then we'll do the ceremonial groundbreaking. Any questions? Yes, Mark.
Yeah, I was wondering if somebody could speak to the temporary nature, both of the building and the occupants, the 8 businesses that will go in. What will happen to the building once it's taken down after a few years to make room for the hotel? And what will happen to those businesses?
Well, thanks for that question, Mark. And I think the video really illustrates that we're about, I think, 3 years out from the final delivery. And in that time, we have a great opportunity to occupy this space and incubate the businesses that we just heard from. So I'm going to turn to the team to talk about what the transition looks like.
Thank you so much, Mayor. It's good to see you, Mark. The interim retail is going to be around for about a minimum of 3 years. It's a rather complicated entitlement process and design process we have to go through. So in order to activate the site, we're building the interim retail village. But working with David and his incredible team and some incredible engineers and Banneker, we've actually developed the site so that it's modular and can actually be deconstructed and moved to another location. So if it's as widely successful and popular as we hope it will be, maybe it'll show up again in a neighborhood near you.
Spoken like a city administrator. Good work. Oh, the transition for businesses. Can you talk about the Incubate program?
No, thank you very much. We're really excited about the opportunity to give a chance for some businesses to really get incubated and start up. As we move towards the project launch, the final project launch, that's going to be one of our big challenges and opportunities, is really to find new places for those businesses so that they can get repotted, hopefully bigger, more vibrant, more successful in the permanent project. So we're looking forward to a long-term relationship with these incredible businesses.
Any other press questions? Okay, let's all gather to do the ceremonial groundbreaking. And also, before we do that, Latrina, would you talk a little bit more about what's planned for this evening?
So as plans for this evening, please join the Emerson team, Red Brick and Don't Mute DC, for a community go-go festival, Mambo versus Gumbo. It'll be here on the site from 5 to 8:30 p.m. this evening. So come out, taste some New Orleans and DC style food, listen to the brass band and also some go-go, and just come out with other community residents, because this is the type of space that we are creating with the interim retail village. So we're going to get started this evening at 5 p.m. Thank you.
All right, let's do it.